All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is No Limits with Amanda. Amanda, I think I made a mistake again. I apologize. This is episode number 11, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm
Went by
correct.
so fast.
I'm correcting this as we speak. So if you're watching this at the very beginning of this live broadcast, it'll say 10 and it'll all of a sudden change to 11. But not a big deal. It's not a big deal there. But how are you doing? Everything going well with you?
Yeah, I was just saying before we hopped in here how quickly the week went by. I'm like, oh my goodness. I feel like the closer we get to the end of the year, the faster the days are going by.
Is it a Christmas thing for you, or what makes it feel like it's going so quickly for you?
Yeah, I guess I'm just working a lot, but I think it does have to do with the end of the year. Like there's a saying, the closer you get to the end of the roll of toilet paper, the faster it goes.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just laughing. And I feel like that's like how I feel about the end of the year. The closer you get to the end of the year, the faster the days go by.
Okay. Well, we were comparing this year to a roll of toilet paper. That's kind of interesting. So,
Yeah.
what I got to say, I don't know if we talked about this last week, but the temperatures here are getting really weird. Can't remember what day it was. We reached above 70, and then on Saturday we're supposed to reach above 70 again. So, we're like going through some sort of weird warming thing where it goes up and down. Like today was like only reached like the lower 40s, but like I said, in 2 days it's going to be like supposed to get 72 degrees. So I'm not sure. What are you getting where you are? Is it warm? Is it up and down? What are you getting?
Yeah, it is. Last week we had a day in the 60s, and then yesterday there were it snowed.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, today it's 40, and now Saturday it's saying it's going to be in the high 60s, like 67 degrees. I can't believe it.
Oh, okay. So you're getting the same thing that we are. So just a little bit,
Hmm.
almost in the same range. No. Oh, so before we go too much further, we do have an affiliate that we'd like to promote, and that's NordVPN. So they're helping us pay for the what we're doing here. So for those who who are looking for something to protect yourself when you're on the internet, you can go to NordVPN. I've used NordVPN before. I told the story before on another show, but I'll tell it again. The original reason I used NordVPN was I had purchased a video game that was originally sold to be played and launched in Germany. And so when I tried to launch it here in the United States, it wouldn't let me do it. So I used NordVPN to trick their servers to think I was actually in Germany. So I was able to install the game without any problems after that. So it works pretty well. Um,
What a
you can also,
wonderful technology.
yeah, and I also I use occasionally use NordVPN because I have to use Facebook and I don't like Facebook. And Facebook, if you they force you to log in, if you don't log in after a while, then what was that? Was that a train?
So sorry. So that was my text message
Oh,
sound. So sorry. You know what's happening? I have a case that a phone case that usually allows me to turn notifications to silent when we're broadcasting, so I'm not interrupted. But this case, the side there's like a piece on the side that you have to push back in order to shut off the notifications. And when I put the case on, because it's broken on the side, it keeps turning the notification thing back on. So I'm so sorry about that. I just shut it off again. So hopefully there'll be
okay.
no more interruptions.
Oh, I hate that. I used to have a phone that would turn my Wi-Fi on all the time. I constantly have to turn it off, and I because I never use it. It was wearing down my battery, so I know what that's like. It's annoying. So, but
Yeah, I'm so sorry about that.
it's fine. It sounded funny. I wasn't sure if it was a real train or a model train. Maybe you had a train set up or something. So, oh,
That would be fun. A train set up. One of
yeah.
my friends that has a train around his Christmas tree.
Oh, I did that when I was a kid one time. Yeah, it's a very tiny thing. It's fun when you do that stuff. So.
Hmm.
Uh, but before I go too far, I did want to say I was talking about my experience with Facebook. The Facebook will force you to log in if you don't log in after a certain period of time. And so I used NordVPN was I would use it to make it seem like I was logging in from another location, and Facebook would stop asking me to log in because I don't want them getting my data. It's annoying. So and
Yeah, that
but
is annoying. Hmm.
yeah, and I have to use Facebook because of the job I do. I have to gather data from Facebook pages. Personally, I would never use it. I just don't care about Facebook. But I'm not criticizing people that do. but it's just I have to go through like at least maybe half a dozen or so Facebook pages every day. And it does help if you turn it on. You can block you can trick them from thinking you're in a different part of the country or a different part of the world, and that way they don't keep on asking you to log in, which is really a nice thing. But anyway, if you're interested, we have an affiliate link in the description. It's the first link there. You can click on that, and it helps us. Like I said before, it helps us pay for what we're doing here. We appreciate that as well. So.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
And so getting back to your trains, when I was a kid, I bought an N-gauge train and I put it around the tree, a small tree we had in our family room area. We had it was like a basement family room area. And I'd never done that before. And after that, I ended up taking that after we took everything down from Christmas, I went to my bedroom and I built a small track that went around the outer edge of my room. So I had a little town on one end of my room and like a 2x6 piece of wood with the tracks, and they would go down the tracks and around my bed and around to a big old kitchen table I had in the other corner of my room. And another town would be set up on that kitchen table. So it'd be two little towns that go back and forth. The train would go back and forth. Now it sounds kind of neat, but I wasn't really that creative in putting it all together, but I did the best I could. So.
It sounds really neat. I have I have nephews. My husband his brother has two boys, and so we have two nephews there. And then my brother has a little boy, so he's my other nephew. But both sides of the family love trains. The kids are like obsessed with them, but they don't do half of what you did. They didn't build towns and things like that. They just put up their tracks and bring the trains all around. But I think that's really imaginative.
Yeah, the interesting thing though, when I put it all together is, I can never get the train to do it to go around the whole loop of the thing, basically like without falling off the track. It would always somewhere along the line would always fall off the track, and I have to pick it up and put it back on. So I can never get it to stay on the the tracks. So
My nephews, that still happens now. So I don't even know if it's like a thing because it was years ago. The trains still fall off the track all the time.
and when I say about these little towns, I've seen people build these elaborate cities where they put like a major amount of attention into it. I think they're really creative. All I did was just buy like a green, grassy, like artificial grassy thing, and I bought little houses from like a store that specialized in train stuff, and it wasn't really elaborate though. And a styrofoam little mountain. So, but I mean, I was trying to do something, but I was always feeling like I wasn't really putting as much effort in as other people were. I could really tell that these other people put a major amount of effort building these little towns, and it was really creative. Mine was just like kind of slapped together with stuff I bought at a store. So, but it was fun when I did it though.
Yeah, it does sound like fun. It's perfect.
So let's see. Would you like to take a look at our question from last week? As we told you before we went live, we got a nice number of responses here. Our nice, how would I put this? You'll see what we got here. A nice response. I'll give really nice responses. I can't think of the right word to say, but they're really nice. So, has anybody ever inaccurately judged you? If so, give an example. And overwhelmingly, 84% with yes. 10% with I don't know if I was ever judged, and only 5% with no. So that's pretty high number there. So if you put that 84 and the 10%, it's like 94% essentially versus the no category. That is, I find it interesting that only 5% of the people out of 1,300 votes said no. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's an overwhelming amount of people that have been judged.
Yeah.
It seems like we've all been judged then, no? Because you even admitted last week that you judged me, which it's like it's just interesting.
We got these responses go on. I mean, these are really long responses here, and I appreciate all of them. I'm not going to read through all of them. I did scan through some of them, but basically, people going through their life, telling their life stories, essentially about what they how people have misjudged them, and it's really interesting. I would recommend anyone who has taken the time to read through all the responses. Like I said, I don't want to not read them, but at the same time, it would just take I think it takes a little bit too long to read through all of these because they're so well, they're so well written and everything, and I don't want to skip over anything that might be essential. So, I would definitely go through there if you have the time and read through these, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But I thank you very much for taking the time to read through them. So, oh,
Yeah, I'm seeing it, as you're scrolling. It just people really did take time, and some people connected with one another and they responded to each other's um,
yeah.
information, which is really nice.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. And yeah, it's sometimes, I mean, sometimes when you're misjudged, it can be annoying. Sometimes it's like, it's okay. It's like not a big deal. And so I think a lot, most of the general thing was, it wasn't really it wasn't really great for them to be misjudged reading through them when I read through them earlier. So, they felt like it was more like, hey, this is something that was not exactly done the right way or so in general. And, even one of them was put a little apology on there too. So for what he had done. So, and
Wow.
by the way, this is a new viewer. He likes our shows. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sorry. Dessen Haas play 3.0 with a little Christmas tree. Says hi. So hi back. Uh,
Mhm.
he's a regular on the show now. Apparently he likes to come on. He came on last Tuesday as well. So,
I like that little Santa hat guy. Cute. I guess not.
and he said the last time when he left a comment, he doesn't speak English. So, so hopefully,
Hopefully he understands, right?
yeah, uh-huh. All right. So we were trying to come up with a question for our audience for this week, and we were trying to try to describe how to say how. Go ahead and ask it again. Let's see how we can ask that.
Okay, are there any traditions that you follow to mark the beginning of the holiday season?
Oh, that's perfect.
Okay.
Traditions that you follow. Oops. To mark the beginning of the holiday season, right?
Mhm.
I misspelled a word there.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah. Get back to that. Okay. All right. Are there any traditions that you follow to mark the beginning of the holiday season? I think that's worded perfectly. So how could we put the responses? Like what, maybe like one of the things we talked about was like watching a movie, I guess.
Um, yeah. Oh, I was just gonna say yes, no, or I don't know, and then if they were yes, to just share with us
Okay,
in
let me
the
put that
comments
on there.
below what the tradition is.
Okay. Yes. Share. Say it again. If yes, how would you say that?
Share below what your tradition is.
Oh, share below what your tradition is. Okay. Tradition is leave a comment. Okay. Okay. So yes and no. Anything else?
Um,
Maybe I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate the holidays. Maybe.
oh, that's a good one because that's true. Not everybody celebrates.
Yeah. Celebrate. I'm not a.
You
I'm not
spell
a.
you.
I'm. Go ahead.
Sorry, you spelled celebrate wrong.
Oh. Sorry. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. Hold on. I'm not a. I'm not one that goes out of my way to celebrate the holidays, but I don't. I don't ignore them either. So.
Hmm.
But I can't spell this right. Hold on. Okay. There we go. I think I
And the holiday season can be hard for a lot of people too. You know, some people like what you're saying. Some people don't like to acknowledge it.
hmm. I think I don't know if I said this. I'm not a big fan of Christmas music. Christmas music can get kind of annoying. So, that Christmas music and 80s music sometimes can get really annoying to me. So,
You hate 80. We can't be friends anymore. It's over Zoom. That's it. 80s music is my favorite. Oh my goodness.
how about country music? Are you a fan of country music?
I'll listen to it, but not really. Like, I won't go out of my way to listen to country music. Do you
Okay.
love country music? Am I insulting you?
No, actually, I don't. I was going to say that's another kind of music I don't like either. So I was going to say, if we have that in common, we can still be friends then, I guess. So
Okay. Thank goodness. What a relief.
I will say there are 80 songs that I do like. So it's not all 80 songs. It's just 80 songs in general. Like I'll hear it and I go, oh yeah, I remember that song. And like 2 or 3 seconds in, I say, okay, I got to turn it off. Please turn it off. I just don't hear
That's fair.
it. My favorite, if I had to pick more popular music, it'd be more from the 70s and then more into the 90s. It seems like the 80s just lacked a little bit of what I liked for some reason. It seemed to swing back into the 90s seemed to swing back into my taste more or less. So
I could agree. I like the 70s and the 90s too. We're friends. We're good.
so anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, I think that's good. I think we got everything covered.
Okay. Are there any traditions? I mean, I'm just proofreading because I know I always make, and I often make mistakes here. So are there any traditions that you follow to mark the beginning of the holiday season? If yes, share below what your tradition is. Leave. Okay, good. I don't, so I don't. Okay. There we go. So we can come back. I think that's worded pretty well. And that was perfect. I think that's a really perfect question to ask. So, and
Okay,
so
great.
leading up to our movie for this evening, which is Home Alone, the original Home Alone, by the way. And by the way, before we go, let me look at this. I can bring this up in a second as well. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sequels to this movie. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that. That's great trivia question answers. Like, I have no idea. I had no idea.
I just recently found out this coincidentally that there's a new one coming out called Home Sweet Home Alone. It's coming out, I guess, or maybe it's already come out. I was getting off topic a little bit, but let's see, I can bring it up. You can take a look at this here. Home Sweet Home Alone. Oh, I guess it's already come out, and it's got according to IMDb, 3.6 out of 10 average.
Oh,
So.
oh boy. IMDb is not a fan, I guess.
So anyway, let's see. I'll bring it up. So Home Alone is a movie that you and I had both seen before, but we hadn't seen it for a long time. Is that right? I know that's the way it was for me. That was the way for you too, right?
Yes. Hmm.
No, I got to say the only problem I have with the movie's pretty good, but I cannot relate to the family in this are just there's just way too. They're just John Hughes does this too often. They just seem to be too far well off for me to relate to in some ways. Big family, they can afford lots of things. My families they were poor, but they were never well off like these families are. It seems like they just have so much money to spend. And I just feel like, oh my goodness, I can't relate to this kind of family life. It seems a little bit over for me. I'm not criticizing anybody that has that. It feels like, why don't they just make it more average for like what I had for my family life, and that I can maybe relate to a little bit more. But that's not going to make me from disliking the movie. It just makes me feel like I just can't fully relate to what their lifestyle is when they're the things they're doing. So,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we actually couldn't afford to go on vacation, and there were only 2 kids in my family. So you're talking about how many kids they had, and they were able to go on this extravagant vacation with them.
yeah, and
Hmm.
not only that, like at the very beginning, when they're getting ready to go on their vacation, they have vans pulling up to take the families to the airport. I mean, it's like, are you kidding? Really? It's like your own chauffeur drivers essentially taking you to pick. It's like, and yeah, we very my family we never flew. We always just drove everywhere. Of course, you can't drive to Europe from the United States, but I mean, we were we couldn't afford the flights. We just drove everywhere because it was cheaper that way, and so it's just a little bit overboard on the money there aspect. So the other thing I would say before we go too far, Luis Fernando says, I love you, or just love you. So love you back, Luis. Thank you.
Definitely love you.
How did you feel as the story progresses? You have what's it, Macaulay Culkin's character, I forget his name, Kevin, that's his name, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Kevin. Hmm.
And his mother, I forget the actress that plays her name. She's Is it Catherine O'Hara? Is that her?
Mm-hmm. You got it. You're doing good.
Yeah, I'm cheating. I'm looking at the list by the way, so I'm not. I'm
Oh.
not.
I was like, how does he know this so quickly?
But I like her in other movies. She's been in other movies. I really like her as an actress. So, but the two of them at the very beginning have like a little tiny feud, a little tiny spat, and she locks him up. She forces him up into the attic, and at the very end, of course, they get back together and they show how much they like love each other, of course. And do you feel that there was actually any resolve to that? This is the only other thing I had like a slight problem with the movie. Do you think there was any resolve to their little spat or little thing that they had?
Yeah, no, because they just hug and everything's fine. They don't even talk about it. They don't address it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's how I felt, and I wasn't sure if I was missing something on that, and that's a problem I've seen in other TV shows and movies. You have two characters that have an issue, and something happens outside of that problem that they have to deal with or resolve, and because of that issue they become closer, but they never address the initial problem that caused the problem in the first place. So, and
That's
that's
exactly what happens.
yeah. So, and I like I said, it's not, it doesn't make me dislike the movie. It's just I don't like that kind of writing. It's like, why don't you know? And I understand maybe the writing it can be kind of hard to try to resolve that issue, but I don't like it when TV shows and movies do that, because it's like, come on, we're the audience is going to see through that, or at least some of the audience is going to see. I know most audiences are pretty smart. They're going to see through that, and or maybe they were just like watching this and we just want to have a happy funny movie with the funny antics that happen. Maybe they're just not concerned with it. So, but it is something I just wanted to bring up, because I don't like that in TV shows and movies. I just think it's, like I said, it's a poor writing technique in movies, and that's the writing itself in this was good. It's just that sometimes it's just they do that stuff and it just kind of irritates me a little bit. So, but the rest of the movie is pretty good. How do you feel? Why don't you give your opinion about the movie, I guess?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people that actually watch. Their tradition is to watch this movie, and that marks the beginning of the holiday season for them. But I don't know. I think there are parts of it that are really like not believable. Like, do you really think that a family would forget one of the kids? Come on. Like for me it's just it's an adorable movie. It's so cute, but and I even think like how would a kid his age know how to go to the supermarket? I don't think I would have known how to go to the supermarket by myself and like to spend the money and to use his coupons. I'm like he was definitely smarter than I was at his age.
Yeah, yeah. As far as in fact, I remember I didn't start going food shopping until I was probably like 19. I think that's the first time I really went food shopping for actual food for myself. So and I was still at the time I was still living with my dad in a home he and I rented together, and because it was kind of funny because he said to me, "Oh, I see you're going food shopping. Well, from now on, you can buy your own food." I was like, "Oh, great."
Oh no, that's one of those things when you're like, I wish I did a bad job so he wouldn't have made me do it.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. At Kevin's age, it was way too young. Was he like supposed to be like 10 or 12 or something?
Yeah, I thought it was supposed to be like between 8 and 10.
Oh, you 10. Okay. Okay. I wasn't sure. Here's the scene right here. So, oh, and by the way, before we go too far, this is like a continuation from last week's movie in the sense, because we're doing another Joe Pesci movie.
All connected.
And Joe Pesci in this one, I think this came out before last week's movie, right? Well, that was My Cousin Vinny. I think this one came out like a couple years before, I think.
Yeah, was My Cousin Vinny 1994 or 95?
I think it was, hold on a second. I'll look real quick. I think it was 91. I think it was,
Oh,
so yeah, so it was like the following year. Hold on, I'm bringing it up right now. Bring up the list. Here we go. My cousin Vinny was 92. So it's in
mhm.
1992. I'm seeing it right now. So, but yeah. Yeah. So anyway, we don't have to, there we go. Yeah,
Yeah,
19.
Kevin's supposed to be 8 in the movie.
Right. Oh, you really? Okay. Okay. Did you
Mhm.
did you look that up, or did you just was that just something you knew? So,
I knew I was pretty sure he was supposed to be 8, but then I just looked it up to reconfirm my thought, and it's right.
okay. Okay. Now, now, of course, this is it's obviously not a, you don't have to believe everything in the movie. It's funny to see him go shopping and everything. That's another minor issue with movies sometimes, is that they write the kids to be more like adults. They would do things that adults do rather than what a kid would actually do. So, but it's funny for this movie. It's fine. It's funny. It's kind of funny. So.
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite scenes. I think it's so funny.
Uh, now, from what I understand, this movie was kind of related to Uncle Buck in a way. Have you ever seen Uncle Buck?
Yes.
And Macaulay Culkin was in that one as well. And what they did was, I hope I have the facts right on this. When they were making that movie, he liked Macaulay Culkin a lot, so he decided to make him the star of the next movie, which was this one, or at least the movie that came after it. And as you watch this movie, you'll see that who's Uncle Buck? I'm sorry, John
John
Candy.
Candy?
John Candy, yes. Yeah, he makes an appearance in this one. So he becomes like in the other movie, Macaulay Culkin makes an appearance as Uncle Buck. As an appearance in the sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Macaulay Culkin made an appearance in that one. He was not a major character. He was like a small, like a supporting character. In this one, John Candy plays more like that same kind of supporting kind of character in this. Not in the same kind of, but the same kind of level of involvement in the movie is what I'm looking for. So.
Like a nice role reversal.
Yeah, exactly. So, so basically, John Hughes wanted to have him on, make him be the main star, and I think Macaulay Culkin does a pretty decent job on this. And the like I said, I have the mother on the screen. I liked her. I know she was in Beetlejuice. I can't remember what else she's been in.
She actually was in a show that a lot of people are obsessed with. Did you watch it? It's called Schitt's Creek. Can I say that?
No, you can't.
Oh no, I said the S word, but it's spelled differently. It's SCHITTS. But it was on the station Pop. It became like there were so many fans for the show. What a great show it was! If you have not caught any of it, Zoom, you might like it.
Oh, okay.
It's such a really great show. It was the lead actor in it. My goodness, I forgot his real name. Him and his son actually produced the show.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna bring it up right here so we can. Here we go. It'll come up right now. Here we go. Schitt's Creek. Okay.
So the same actress plays Maura, who's the mother in the show.
Okay.
What a great show.
Oh, it's not no longer made. It says 2015 to 2020. Is that so? It's
yeah.
No longer...
It just ended.
Oh, okay. Is this a streaming? Is it on a streaming service or is this on public TV? I can't imagine a show with that title being on public TV.
It was on Pop. So that
Pop,
was that a cable?
I'm sorry.
Cable network.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think it might be now on Netflix or one of the streaming platforms that you might be able to watch, like binge the whole thing, but I'm not sure. I can look it up for you.
What is? Pardon my ignorance on that. What is Pop exactly? Is that like just one of like a little channel, like just that shows different shows, or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I actually didn't really know much about Pop until this show.
Okay.
I didn't watch anything on Pop until Schitt's Creek came out.
Oh, okay. That's what I used to call my dad when I was a kid. I called him Pop. I always stood out because no one else called their dads Pop. So, and as I got older into my teenage years, it went from Pop to Paw.
I love that.
We weren't country folk either, that's for sure. So it's just kind of funny to say. But then when I turned I got to be like closer to an adult, I started calling my parents by their first names. So I didn't call them Paul or Ma or anything like that anymore. So.
And they were okay with that? I feel like some people wouldn't like you calling them by their first name.
Oh, my dad was cool. So my mother was kind of weird with it at first, but it didn't matter. My mother's name is Joanne, and I called her Joe because my dad called her Joe, and she said my name's not Joe, it's Joanne. So,
okay.
But yeah, I went through. I have this thing that I still like. I like to treat everyone like equal. So like I don't call anyone Mom, Pop, or Mr. or Mrs. unless I have to do that with because I run a business now. But I mean, as a regular person, I look at everyone as being equal. So I like to keep everyone on a first name basis. So, um,
I love that. I love that because I feel like there's an expectation attached to the fact that somebody's your mother or your father, and it's like really interesting to look at it from a different perspective.
mhm.
Like to say, "Oh, maybe they don't like I don't owe them anything because they're my parents." Like we're all I don't know if that's what you mean either when you when you call them by their first names, but just an interesting way to look at it because society I feel like gives labels to people and there's like this expectation around it.
Yeah, and I will say this: when I got together, we got together for a small like family reunion. I don't usually don't do this, but back about 20 years ago, with some cousins and aunts, I had cousins that were older than me, and they were still calling my grandparents grandma and grandpa. And I thought it was kind of weird. It felt really weird because they were like, it's like I felt like these people like at least 10 years older than me still saying grandma and grandpa. It's like I don't say that. I don't say that at all. So it felt really weird. I took it to every level. So, and it was like really,
Mhm.
I couldn't, I thought grandma and grandpa was something like a little kid would say. I guess adults say it too. It just sounds so weird to me to hear people say that. So,
Mhm. Yeah, I have an aunt who I did up until a few years ago call her Aunt Lynn, and she doesn't like she's like, "You don't have to call me aunt." She said it's like a courtesy that a young child calls, you know, to give respect. She said, "But you're an adult. You don't need to call me aunt anymore." And, you know, it's been hard to break the habit. I have to,
oh,
like, catch myself and just call her by her first name. It's
the
interesting.
yeah, when I was like I say I was 19 years old. I spent some kind of a it's not the same, but it's kind of not really the same, but it kind of reminded me of the story. I spent 3 weeks on my uncle's farm in Pennsylvania, out just outside of Altoona, Pennsylvania, and his name was Claire, which and I didn't realize all my life. I thought Claire was a man's name. I didn't know it was actually a woman's name. So I didn't know usually a woman's name it is. So I was interested when people I say his name is Claire. People say that's a woman's name. I say no, it's actually a man's name. So when I was growing up, I got confused with that. But it's not a big deal.
Mhm.
I called his wife's name was Cindy, so I called when I went to visit for those 3 weeks. I called them Claire and Cindy by their first names, and I remember one time I was making some sort of joke and I said aunt and uncle. I said like Uncle Claire and Aunt Cindy or something like that. And my uncle said, "Wow, it was the first time you actually said aunt or uncle to us," or something like that.
Wow, so you must have taken him by surprise.
Yeah.
What the heck?
So
Well,
okay.
sorry, I took us way off topic. Okay,
Oh
back to the
no.
movie.
Oh, I think it's fun. I like talking about that stuff. So.
Me too.
Let's see. We were talking about oh yeah, we were talking about her in the movie. She's yeah, Schitt's Creek. What else was she in? Was there anything else that's like I said? I know. I brought up Beetlejuice. Was there anything else that's interesting? Trying to think. I say that there's something else I saw her and I just can't remember what it was. But anyway, every time I see her, she's always really good. So,
Yeah, I agree. She's a very strong actress. Mhm.
um, let's see. So Macaulay Culkin, I've never seen it. Not too many things. He was in Jacob's Ladder, of course. But
Mhm.
that was about that's the only other thing I could think of him being in. And he wasn't really a major character at all in that one. It was like he was just, just kind of there, really. So, oh, of course, Uncle Buck, duh, yeah, Uncle Buck as well. So, yeah.
Mhm.
So, all right. So, as the movie goes along, we have Joe, of course, the comic relief, Joe Pesci, and I forget the guy. Is it Daniel Stern? I'm not looking this time.
Yeah, it is. You got it.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And the only reason I remember that is because his last name is the same as Howard Stern. They share the same last name. And for some reason, I don't know why. That's how I was able to remember it for some reason. So, not that they're related or all. If maybe they are, I don't know. So, but this is obviously the scene with them breaking into the house is funny, but obviously you said like I think you said there's a lot of. Did you say unbelievable aspects to the movie? How did you say that before?
Yeah. Mhm. There are a
Yeah.
lot of aspects to the movie that yeah. Mhm.
So
Definitely unbelievable.
yeah, so them breaking into the house is very much unbelievable. So,
Mhm.
but it's still
I
funny.
love that.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
still funny.
sorry. It is funny. And do you really think, like, as an 8-year-old, you would be able to create such a trap for them? Come on.
Yeah.
That's the thing, when you're young, you just have, I guess, have an appreciation for the movie and don't really question it, and then when you go back and watch it as an adult, you're like, "Really? But really?"
Oh, so you saw it when you were a kid then, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, I saw it when I was an adult. So I didn't have the I did not share the same view as you did. So I never saw it as a child. So actually I couldn't see it as a child because I was already an adult when it came out. So
Okay.
but as far as but yeah, so how does that feel? I would like to hear more about that. So basically you're watching it as a kid, you're like, did you think it was like did you feel like this was plausible back then? Did you feel it was like just fun to watch? How would you describe that?
I don't remember. I just remembering that I really liked the movie and I thought it like I think I really thought it was fun when I was younger. I liked it,
Okay.
but I don't know, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, I like I said, I think I saw this when it first came out. That's probably the last time I saw it too. I don't remember going out of my way to watch it. So any other time. But yeah, the so Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, they are when they try to break into the house. Okay. This is what was considered to be the main focal point of the movie. But I guess if you really watch it, it really doesn't feel like it. I mean, when you watch, I mean, it's a part of the movie for sure, but it seems like the main part of the movie is just him surviving or living, learning to live, and all the little adventures he's going through. And that just happens to be one of the adventures he has to go through. Would you think? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I guess looking back at it, yeah, I mean, that one scene was probably most promoted maybe because it was funny. Like, I'm wondering even at the time the movie originally aired, if that was, like, part of the trailer of the movie and, like, a big, like, crescendo, I guess, of excitement, the build up. But, yeah, I mean, he had so many adventures. He met the older guy, he became friends with him. I love his character. It's
Yeah, yeah. And then the older character they were talking about he was told was evil or did something wrong, and the old man even knew that people had said these lies essentially about him, and he told them not to believe him, and then at the very end he gets back together with his son, and his son is his son's family. So
mhm,
that was pretty good. So
very heartwarming.
and the oh, was the what else was there as I'm trying to think. Um, okay, I'm scanning through here. I'm just looking to see if there's anything that stood out. Oh, Joe Pesci, of course, without a wig, unlike the last movie we saw where he had a very obvious wig. So,
Right.
let's see. Anyone else in here? Of course, we talked about John Candy. The scenes where he has the people walking up, playing the TV sets. It's kind of funny, but I would think most people when they walk up to a house and they hear like if he was playing the TV really loud like that, I think they probably think it was a TV set just being played very loud. Um, I don't really think that people would think that's really someone saying those things. I don't know. To me, it just didn't seem that believable. So it was kind of funny though.
Mhm, mhm. I agree. I thought it was funny too when he sets up the dolls and does the mannequins and then has, the music blasting.
Yeah, yeah. And it was like one's on a
Cute.
record album. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
almost it's always the way you describe it, it's almost like you have this is almost like a child's fantasy. If they could do something and get away with it, this is what it would be like. It's because obviously as an adult you're looking at, oh, that's not going to happen. You're constantly looking at it as saying this is not going to happen. But as a kid, it's like it gives you this like, oh, that's really cool. It's almost like, did you ever watch the Little Rascals, or that they call them Our Gang? I forget. The Little Rascals, I think, was what the show was called when it was broadcast on TV, but originally I think it was called Our Gang when it was in the theaters. Have you seen those?
No, like, I maybe saw a few minutes of one of them, like, I know the alfalfa, I know
Yeah,
alfalfa,
yeah.
but I couldn't tell you anything about their stories.
When I was a kid, I used to watch those, and it had the same kind of premise. Like the kids would do these really interesting things, and to the point where you're like, well, I watched them when I was a kid, and I would think, I was like, well, I'd like to do that somehow. So- and
Mhm.
I was probably like, maybe between the ages of like maybe 5 and 10 when I watched those shows. And that's what this kind of comes across as. They would do little creative things and build things, and this is, and they would get away with it because it's a movie. It was a small. They were only like 20 minutes long. Those movies, and it's as a kid it seems like, oh, I could do that. That'd be fun. I think the kids watching this would probably think the same thing. But this has a Little Rascals kind of feel to it in that way. If for anyone's ever watched those little movie shorts, you watch it as a kid and you go, oh, I think I could do that. That'd be cool. And then as an adult, you go, oh, that could never happen. So, but it is definitely a movie for both adults and kids. So,
Hmm. Yeah, I used to think about that when I was a little kid. I used to think about what I would do if I ever got locked in a mall. That's
I'm
what I
locked
used
in
to
the
think
mall.
about. I'm like, how cool would it be? Like I could get food from the food court. I could go sleep in one of the like the bed and bath stores, and then like how cool it would be.
So like locked in, but you're talking about locked in at nighttime or locked in like during the like when the stores are still open, or I guess you'd be at nighttime, right?
Yeah, at nighttime. Yeah, but then of course as an adult you realize, oh, each store closes their own gate, so you wouldn't be able to get into the stores. But it makes me think. Did you ever see the movie Mannequin?
Yes, yes, I have.
Okay, so I always wanted to be just like her. Like, wouldn't it be so cool if I was a mannequin and then I came to life and I lived in the store?
I think they didn't they make sounds like they made a movie like that. I remember I can't remember. And actually, what you're describing more not obviously Mannequin's movie, but more what you're describing, like being like kids being locked in a mall. It sounds familiar. I'm not sure. Maybe
It
it's
probably is.
yeah, and they're having fun, obviously doing things. But yeah, that's I don't think I've ever imagined being locked in a mall. I just remember being in the mall, having fun as a kid. The malls we went to. I will say that talking about malls, there was they had something like this when I was a kid. There's a mall close to where I live called Springfield Mall, and they had a little house. And what would happen is kids would walk up to the house instead of being Santa Claus, it was Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer would pop his head out and ask kids what they wanted. And
Oh,
uh,
okay.
I remember some of the older kids, the ones that were would walk up and start not doing things to make the person because it was a puppeteer inside, and this big head would pop out the window, and the older kids would come in and they would like try to harass whoever was inside the house. and,
It's kind
and
of
the
fun.
person eventually the person who was inside the house would open up a small door and say, "Okay, you need to stop doing that now." But it was a big attraction. In fact, it was such a big attraction at this mall. They would actually advertise it on the radio that you could come down to Springfield Mall and see Rudolph and tell him what you wanted for Christmas. And so it was I don't know. It was an interesting concept, but I don't remember ever seeing a Santa house. But it was very much the house looked very much similar to this kind of concept. But it would like I said in the mall, but not outside. So
Hmm. Yeah, this is really cool.
the for a second there, I had to look this guy up. He's not anyone that really matters. But I thought this was maybe a John Hughes cameo for a second there because he kind of looks like John Hughes for a second there. So,
Oh, so cool.
but unfortunately, it was not him. So,
Mm.
then we get the old man. This is when he gets to really meet him. I'm trying to get back. This thing is so hard to control. There we go. This is when he meets him and he finally gets a chance to find out that he slowly grows on him. He tells the old man tells him he'd like to be with his kid. His kid is he and his son. He said I think he says something like he told his son he never wanted to speak to him again. Is that right? And then
Hmm.
he was afraid that if he went to see his son, that his son would walk away, and he didn't want to have that kind of rejection, which is something I think I know I can honestly say I know that feeling. I'm sorry, the rejection feeling, going up to somebody and knowing you're going to be rejected by them. So that aspect, not what he's saying about the family member part, but the rejection. And I thought that was conveyed very well in that part.
Hmm.
And then as the story progresses, he's the one that actually comes to this. He rescues him at the end, right? How does that work?
Hmm.
Yes. Oh, here we go. Yeah, with the
There
shovel.
he
Yeah,
is.
yeah. There we go.
Boom.
Oh, here we go. Oh, I can't even find this stupid thing. Okay. Sorry. This thing is just so annoying. The little, okay, if I use the keyboard, I think we can get a little bit better here. There we go. Oh well, no, I can't get to. Okay, well, we got the general idea. So, sorry.
You're
um,
perfect. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
but yeah. So, now there are a couple of scenes in here. Let's see. Why when what's his name? Him right here. Why he walks outside of it? There's like sticky stuff on the thing, and his shoes come off, then his socks come off, then he's walking around in bare feet. I was like, how does that didn't really make much sense to me.
Hmm.
It seemed to me like if you're walking on something sticky, you wouldn't let your shoes come off and then start walking in
Right.
your socks. You would probably, if your shoe got stuck, you'd probably be like, okay, I'll just get it loose. So, to the
Right.
point where
Or even if your shoes did get stuck, you would make sure that you would not lose your socks too.
yeah, and walking around in bare feet in the cold, yeah, it's like okay, that's a little extreme there. Now the ice scene that was pretty, well, it's just believable. I was going to add something. I can't really think of anything to add to it, but yeah, it's just believable. The
Hmm.
uh, and then, yeah, of course, this is the funny parts. Um, and I I think you said earlier about you think this was in the trailer. I think it was. What I remember seeing in the trailers was this was the focal point of what the movie was supposed to be about. Him battling with these two characters. And
Hmm.
I've never seen. Have you seen any of the sequels to this movie?
I actually haven't. No, so I was shocked when you said there were 5 of them.
Yeah, let me go ahead and bring that back up here because I believe there are the one that follows immediately after this one has him, Macaulay Culkin, and those same two characters. Um, yeah, Lost in New York. Yeah, here we go. Came out 2 years later. I never saw this one. I've never seen any of the other ones. But yeah, so we have Macaulay Culkin, Daniel Stern again, and I don't. And, oh, Joe Pesci right above there. I see it there. So yeah. So yeah. So it's if I think this one was they were just trying to capitalize on those three being the main character and Catherine O'Hara's again. But the the movie poster even shows them there. One thing I do know about this movie, which I thought was kind of stupid, and I'm not trying to get political or anything, was in this movie he meets Donald Trump, and recently they wanted to take Donald Trump out of the movie. I was like, oh please, come on, people, it's stupid.
Oh, wow.
It's like, yeah, it's like, come on, it's just all it is like a small cameo appearance where Donald Trump walks up to the kid and says something to him, and I saw the scene when they were talking about it. It was like I think it was like a year ago. I was like, people, can we just? It's just a movie. Get over it. It's not gonna. He's not. He's nothing's gonna happen. If you don't like Donald Trump, it's just watching him in a movie is not gonna hurt anything. So,
Mhm. Absolutely, I agree with you.
and besides, I don't want to see movies taken apart, taken just because of whatever reason. Leave everything in there. It's fine. So, but
Mhm. It's just a movie.
yeah. Let's see the other movies. I don't think Macaulay Culkin is in it. And by then he would have been too old anyway. I think from the next one, 1997. I remember hearing about this one. But yeah, it's a different kid altogether. So, and in fact,
Mhm.
from what I understand, I think someone, I think I saw a review of this one. This one is not even related to the other movies at all in any way. Uh, it's just a completely different family with a different kid, and none of the characters from the other movies make an appearance, which is kind of weird. So, um, I'm not sure.
Yeah, why would it be part of the franchise then? It should just be its own movie. Just be
Yeah,
a separate movie.
yeah, and they just used the Home Alone to capitalize because Home Alone was so popular. They're hoping people just come in and watch it anyway. So it's kind of like I don't have you seen I don't know if we talked about this. I don't think we did the new Ghostbusters movie yet.
Oh, no, I haven't seen it.
I watched it because well, I'm not gonna say how I watched. I will say this: I was not in a theater. I just I was, but I did
Mhm.
have a chance to see it, and the movie is I was disappointed because it did not it kind of like this movie. It wasn't about the the Ghostbusters. It was a spinoff that involved the descendants or the I guess the daughter and the grandchildren of one of the Ghostbusters, and it was a spinoff. It wasn't a sequel. It was actually what you definitely like a spinoff. So I'm watching this. I'm watching.
Oh.
I got like an hour and a half in, and I'm going, where are the Ghostbusters? And finally, they make an appearance. I think the last 10 minutes of the movie, and I'm like, that's it. I was like, so, and if people like that, that's fine. A lot of people actually liked it. I was just disappointed because of that. I thought it was going to be like a movie like the ones in the 80s where they were going to make an appearance, and it just turned out to be, like I said, a spinoff. The Ghostbusters were hardly in the movie at all. It was just basically, and it was the whole tone of the movie was completely different. It was the comedy was just not that great. So it was more of a tribute to Harold Ramis. You know who Harold Ramis is?
No, is he one of the Ghostbusters?
Yeah, he was one of the Ghostbusters. Plus, he was also a writer. He wrote several movies especially during the late 70s and early 80s. He did a Groundhog Day. He wrote Caddyshack, Animal House. He's a very famous, well-known writer director, and he does some acting, but mostly writing and directing. So, and what happened was he died about 5 or 6 years ago, and so basically the movie was like a tribute to him, which was kind of weird. It's kind of awkward to watch. So it was a tribute to him as an actor, writer, director, and all that. And they had the scene where they actually, what they did is they recreated him using CGI, and it was just like kind of like, okay, and it was supposed to make everyone cry, and a lot of people said they did cry. It's like, okay, this is not what Ghostbusters is about. It's just supposed to be funny. We're not supposed to get all sappy and all this. It was just like, it just turned me off. So,
Mhm.
but
That's
anyway,
fair. That's
I
fair.
just wanted to give my opinion about it. Have you ever seen the original Ghostbusters movies? I didn't even ask you that.
Yeah, the original one, yeah. But
Okay.
when I was younger, when I was a kid.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So if you watch that and you see you're not going to see that kind of, if you watch the new one, that is, you're not going to see that kind of comedy at all. It's completely different. So
Yeah, I'm probably not now after your review, I won't even bother.
I've spoiled it for you. So,
No, that's it. I'm not doing it.
alrighty. So let's see. Was there anything else in particular you wanted to add about this?
No, just it's just a cute feel-good movie. I actually was surprised that some people say that they watch it every year. I don't think this is terrible. I don't really like the movie that much to watch it every year. But hey, if some people, that's part of their tradition, and it's cute, you know? I
Yeah.
really think that the story of the older man with him is so heartwarming, though.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. With the
Mhm.
yeah, and yeah, he finally, the whole thing with the father's his son and then the family at the very end. I mean, they don't really. It's not. It's they talk about it and then they show it at the end. You don't really. They didn't have any words at the end, which is fine. The message got across. It was done very well. So yeah, I agree with you on that. And
Mhm.
this is a fun movie, but yeah, I wouldn't watch it on a regular. I could not watch this every year.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
No, I could see like
Well,
if you had kids though, maybe if someone if you had if I had kids, maybe maybe the kids would want to watch it. I might watch it with them or something.
yeah, true. That's cute.
But yeah, as an adult, yeah, no, I'm not gonna watch this every year. So um, let's see. I was trying to think. I think I've covered everything on this. So as far as a rating, what would you give this movie as a rating?
I would probably only give it like a 7.
7. So
Yeah, I think maybe like you, like, maybe if I had kids, I would have more of an appreciation for it, and I definitely appreciated the movie more when I was younger, but you wouldn't really catch me watching this again.
yeah, I'll probably go. Yeah, I'll probably give it like maybe I'll go slightly lower. I'll give it like a 6.8, just get
Okay.
into that 6 range. So yeah, but yeah, I would recommend the movie, but keep in mind it's probably best to have it. If you're a kid, you'll probably really like it. If you have kids, you'll probably really enjoy watching your kids react to it. But other than that, I would recommend it, but keep in mind you're probably not like us. You'll probably just not want to watch it again. And I don't know, maybe you would. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I can't speak for everybody, of course. So,
Mhm.
all right. I'm trying to go through. I don't see anything else that's on here that really stands out. So I think that we can go ahead and wrap that one up. So let's go back to our question from earlier. Let's see what kind of responses we got. Whoops. Give me a second here. I'm going to have to. Oh, there it is right there. So, all right. So 37 minutes ago, we asked our question, 34 votes so far. Are there any traditions that you will follow to mark to the beginning of the holiday season? And overwhelmingly 85% said yes. 9% with I don't
Wow.
celebrate the holidays, and only 6% with no. Now, that is pretty high. That is pretty. I don't. No, we did that. Did you say you do have something that marks the beginning of the holidays for you? I don't know.
Well, I didn't say it, but normally the day after Thanksgiving, or at least that weekend, all my holiday decorations have to be put up. Like,
Oh, really?
putting up my and actually, I was raised Jewish, and I married an Italian, so he like being raised Jewish. It's funny because my mother always loved Christmas, even though she's not Catholic either. But we always would have to, my mother would always blast Christmas music and make Christmas cookies. So that was like growing up, that was my tradition. And now as an adult, that weekend after Thanksgiving, all the Christmas decorations have to go up. And maybe it's because when I was younger, I didn't have a Christmas tree or stockings or any of that because my father wouldn't let us. So now as an adult, I'm like so into decorating and putting up all that Christmas stuff and the holiday stuff.
Oh, okay. And
Mhm.
that's, I mean, it's something you've maintained your whole life then. You still do it today, everything, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay.
Absolutely. And even though I wasn't raised Catholic, my husband was, he doesn't even have as much interest in putting up the tree as I do. I'm like, "Oh, let's put up the tree. We have to decorate it." He's like, "Okay." Like,
So do
he's
you
nowhere near as excited about it as I am. I'm the
the
one.
is it a live tree or what's the right word? I don't know what right word to call it. Not live tree.
Artificial?
Artificial. There you go.
Artificial?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do, we have an artificial tree. It's up in the attic, and then he's gotta go up every year, bring down all the decorations, bring down the tree, and whenever Chris is my husband's name, whenever Chris and I go away on a trip, because we do go away, like, a few times a year, if there's a store where we are that has Christmas ornaments, I always buy a Christmas ornament too, so that we
Oh.
could put it on the tree and then remember each trip that we've gone on together.
Oh, that's cute. That's really neat. I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Thank you. I stole that from a friend. She does it with her husband, and I was like, "I wanna do that now." So now I do it.
I I I think we had special ornaments that my mother would make. She would hand make little ornaments, like little gloves and things. If I remember correctly, and we had special ornaments we bought here and there. I don't remember anything else that really stood out about the Christmas trees, though. I think one year we did get a live tree, but most of the time we just had the regular artificial tree. So and I remember,
Mhm. The live trees are a lot of work.
yeah, yeah, and I personally, it's kind of odd that we actually have one because my dad and I we don't like the idea of like killing a tree for a holidays. So we think it's kind of
Mhm.
we think it's kind of why kill a poor tree? They didn't do anything wrong. So but we usually don't. We usually like to have when I was a kid. We always thought it was better to have the artificial tree. So I don't know. I'm not sure about my mother and my sister. I don't know if they really cared or not. But we're attitude was like, why kill a tree for something like this? Just let's just use the artificial tree. So, but we did have at least one Christmas where we did have a live tree that I remember. So, um,
That's so
but I
nice.
do remember
So
the thrill of. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I do remember the thrill of putting the tree together, the artificial trees. That was kind of fun. So,
mhm, that is fun, trying to line everything up and then pulling the branches down so it sits right.
uh
Mhm. So I was gonna ask you, was putting up the decorations and your mother's ornaments, was that part of your holiday tradition, or did you have something else that marked the beginning of the season for you?
yeah, see, my parents were different. The Thanksgiving for them was too early to start putting up the ornaments. So if you're at
Mhm,
my house, they look at you like, "Why are you doing it so early?" So they wouldn't be angry. They'd be like, their attitude was, no, we should wait a little further in. So I don't remember exactly when we do it. I think it was just a gradual thing. If I remember correctly. So
mhm.
um, I do know we celebrated, which happened 3 days ago. I had to be corrected on this. Was it Saint Nicholas Day? Is that what it is?
I
It's
don't know, I'd have to look it up. I think is today the 10th? The 8th, no, the 8th, so yesterday was like the, Saint Mary or something.
No, it's Saint Nicholas Day is what it's called. It was on I thought it was the 17th for some reason, and I was talking to someone and
The
recently they said
6th.
no, it's the 6th. I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yes,
How cool is that?
so we'd put out on Saint Nicholas Day, we'd put out for some reason we would put out, and that would by then we were definitely celebrating Christmas as a kid. So I don't, but so sometime after Thanksgiving but before St. Nicholas Day. But I don't think there was anything actually marked when we actually began doing it. So,
Mhm.
um, my parents were like, they didn't want to have everything up too long of a period of time. That's why they were like, they didn't want to do it right after Thanksgiving. And the interesting thing is we actually celebrated all there too. There's another Christmas holiday that's celebrated on January the 6th, which is called Little Christmas. Have you ever heard that one?
Yes, I've heard of it. Mhm.
So that was like the 12th day of Christmas. So if you count it out, like January the 6th, I think is 12 days from December 25th. So by then, I think that was by then we would definitely have everything back down for sure. So that was if
Mhm.
it was and if it wasn't down by that day, we'd definitely have it back down on the day. So yeah, St. Nicholas Day was one of the first celebrations, and then Little Christmas was the very last one. So
Oh, I love that.
but I don't, like I said, I don't remember. I don't remember ever having a specific thing that actually triggered the whole, started it for us as far as when we would actually do it. Now, I will say, getting back to St. Nicholas Day, our tradition was to just go to our drawer and just get a regular sock, not a Christmas stocking, but a regular sock out of our drawer that we had in our drawer, that we wore every day, and put that up to get something put into that. But apparently, the more common tradition is to put a shoe out, which I was surprised because I'd never heard of that one. So, and you said you've never even heard of St. Nicholas Day, is that right?
No, because I guess because I wasn't raised in that religion. So yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So yeah. So
Mhm.
um but yeah, is I thought that was kind of funny. Maybe our family was the only one to use regular socks. I don't know. So, but it wasn't like I said, not a Christmas stocking. And then for Christmas we had the regular Christmas stockings as well, which would be used instead of the regular socks. So, um,
Oh, I
but
love that. That's so cute.
yeah, and I still can't remember something about. I'm probably just making this up in my head, but something about December the 17th keeps on popping in my head like that's supposed to be some sort of day that we did something, but I can't remember why. Maybe it's because the week before Christmas or something. I don't know. But I'm looking at the calendar right here. So it's a week before the Christmas Eve. So I don't know. For some reason I thought that was St. Nicholas Day. And maybe there's something else that we did that I can't remember. So, but those are the three things I remember. Like I said, St. Nicholas, Christmas, and Little Christmas. So, and so
So
as far as
cool.
like when you're growing up, so I mean, does that mean you celebrated Hanukkah too?
Yeah, I only celebrated Hanukkah growing up. We didn't celebrate Christmas. It wasn't until I started dating people outside of the religion, and then they would be celebrating that I would celebrate with them.
Oh, okay. I thought you said your mother though had Christmas decorations though, right? Or did I miss that? Did I miss that? Did I miss it?
N
Understand that?
No, that's okay. My mother had Christmas music playing and would make Christmas cookies.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what do you do nowadays? What do you do? Celebrate both?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
That's interesting. The yeah, I've never celebrated Hanukkah. I don't. Pardon my ignorance. I don't know. I don't understand Hanukkah. So I don't. I just know it's celebrated at the same time of year. I've never even looked into it, so I don't know how that works exactly. Is that like is there a single day for that? How does that work?
So it's 8 days. So you get like when we were little, we would get 8 either we had a choice. We were either gonna get 8 gifts or 8 little gifts or 1 big gift. That was the rule. That was the way that it worked.
Oh, okay. Okay. And what days is it? Those 8 days are they're consecutive, right?
Yes, but every year it changes based on the Jewish calendar.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting. That's really interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
Like I said, that's part of my ignorance. I know, I just don't know anything about it. Maybe I should look into things like that. I just don't know. So,
That's
uh,
okay. Don't worry about it.
yeah, when I was, yeah, other than that, I don't know, I don't know anything about Kwanzaa at all, and I don't know if there's any other holidays that are celebrated that time of year. So, um, the only, I guess the only tradition, I guess, is I watch. But it's not because it's Christmas, because it just happens to be on. I do the movie "It's a Wonderful Life" with Jimmy Stewart.
That's my husband's favorite movie. He just asked me if we could watch it.
Have you ever seen it?
Yes,
Okay,
multiple times.
okay.
Mhm.
You know the history of that movie, right? I don't know if you know that from the 70s and 80s and early 90s. You know why it became so popular?
No, no.
During the copyright for the movie expired. The people who owned the copyright for the movie didn't renew it. So what happened was everybody could run it. So during Christmas time, during the 70s, 80s, and into the early 90s, people ran it. All the TV stations ran it. It was on every day, guaranteed on some station. It was on several times during the entire month of December. And it was on so much, it was like a joke almost. You could just basically say, I'm going to go watch It's a Wonderful Life, because it was basically almost on all the time. It was on somewhere,
Wow.
somewhere. And so what happened? So what happened was the people uh, who let the rights expire, they were able to find out that they still owned the rights to the story, and they still own the rights to some of the music. So they were able to make a copyright claim to that to restrict the number of times it ran every month. So it dropped down substantially. So, but that's the reason why it became so popular, is because it ran so much during those decades, like 70s, 80s, and early 90s. So if it
So
wasn't for that,
interesting.
the ironic part is, if it wasn't for that, it probably never would have become popular at all, because it was not popular when it first came out. So,
Wow. Look
but
at
yeah,
that.
yes, your husband is. I say he says is one of his favorite. That's definitely one of my favorite movies as well. So we're I guess I'd be friends with him too. So
Yeah, we're in good company.
all right. So we can go ahead and wrap everything up. And also, don't forget, for everyone watching, if you like to help support us, you can go click the link, our affiliate link down below for NordVPN. They have a special rate that's going on if you click the link. And if you support that, if you click on that, you buy the service. It helps us run the shows. It helps us fund what we're doing here. We appreciate that. So,
Yeah. Thank you, NordVPN.
all right, cool. So anything else you'd like to say before we wrap everything up?
No, just thank you everybody for joining us and for, answering the question. And please do, if you do have a tradition, I would love to know about it, and we will definitely share it the next time we're on the show. So I would love to hear it. So definitely, if you're a yes, leave it in the comments.
Cool. All right. All right. Thanks, everyone. Sounds good. Yeah, I agree. I mean, we'll definitely do that. I agree with what you're saying. I want to hear what everyone else has to say as far as what are kind of traditions. It's always cool to hear someone's special traditions and what they're doing, whenever something special in the family comes along. So.
Absolutely.